afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our elementary school open house webinar. I'm joined this evening by Dr. Kaz Badney, who is the elementary school principal, and Mrs. Anna Wallace, who is literally the foundation of AISK, and also, of course, the director of admissions, Mrs. Jen Dougal, and Mrs. Rachel Christian. Hi, everyone. Welcome. So today, now we're going to be discussing what does one look for in in choosing an elementary education. You know, for me, I'm Shakira Walton, by the way. I have three heads. Not only am I a mommy and the owner of a school, but I'm also a parent of AISK. I've had my kids there now for 5 years. And for me, when choosing a school, first of all, there's a whole thing attached to choosing, in my opinion, elementary schools in Jamaica. And a lot of Jamaicans, they tend to want to send their child to the prep school that they went to. And what I have found is that we need to break that cycle, because not what was good for you 20 years ago is not necessarily what is good now for your little ones, you know? So over to you, Dr. Badney. Let's hear.
Thank you, Shakira, and welcome everyone. I think the big question is always what to look for in a school. I have a 14-year-old who's in 9th grade, and I really have just one answer, and I think Shakira kind of touched upon it, and that is looking for a school that is future focused. And what do I mean by future focused? It's really looking at the future to teach your child. So, you know, I say to myself, if I see things going on in the classroom that I remember back in 1970 or 1980 when I was in school, I know there's something not right there. You hear so many things in terms of what the future is going to look like. We don't even know some of the jobs that are going to exist. So we can't be teaching our kids the same way that we taught them 30 years ago. So future focus means I'm looking for tools. Right now, the internet and a device is a tool. I'm looking for collaboration where kids are working together and working with other people. I'm looking for communication where we are communicating to each other more than just words. We are in print, we are creating videos, we are blogging, we are using the internet to bridge and to connect with other people. I think that's critically important, as well as critical thinking. I want my kid and I want kids to think critically. And to think critically, you have to ask questions. And you have to understand how to ask questions. And then you have to explore the question beyond Googling it. It's a question, but it's not a meaty question if you can just Google the answer. And then finally, creativity. I want to find a school that is going to tap into the creative juices of my child. Creativity could look very scientific, it could look very mathematical, and it could look very visual and performing arts like. But I want my kid to think creatively and critically and be able to communicate. And then, of course, collaborate across the spectrum, not only face-to-face, but also through the internet. And we've all experienced that. And our children have experienced that, and they're pretty good at that as well. So those are what I look at when I look for a school for myself, as well as a school that I'm going to work in. As you might can tell, I'm from the US, I'm from Chicago. I moved here in July, and I was looking for a school that met my needs as an administrator and met my needs for my child. And AISK fit all the areas.
Good job. So now I would love to hear from from our parents.
All right.
Hi, Rachel. Hi, Jen.
All right.
What does so touching a little bit more on the same topic, what was important to you when choosing
Sure.
AISK?
So my school, hi everybody, I'm Rachel, by the way. Just a little background. I have 3 kids now at AISK, and when I started, my eldest child was actually at another prep school. And I just wasn't, I wouldn't say I was uncomfortable, but I just wanted more, because a lot of what I saw Gabrielle stressing herself out about at such a young age, I mean, as early as 5 and 6, was just this rote kind of learning, just this memorization, not really having a grasp on why, or a curiosity for why, as much as this need to just memorize it, you know? And I just didn't like how that was feeling, and I felt a lot of pressure on her as well. I felt the pressure she was feeling. And so I was watching it, but then at the same time, my son was getting ready for preschool, and I heard these great things about AISK, and I started to do a little research and just found out how transient of a population they are. And I say that to say this, because that was one of the biggest deterrents for me, which actually now have turned into one of the biggest pros for me, I think. So I'll go back, and so I just started to do my research, and I decided to try him out at AISK and draw my comparisons there, and it just was a world of a difference.
Yeah.
Just in terms of the confidence of the child of Adam compared to Gabby at that age, because AISK had them presenting in preschool, standing up in front of their peers, presenting and answering questions on presentations. I mean, just the boldness of my child compared to Gabby, of Adam compared to Gabby, and just his curiosity. I really liked that, and that really encouraged me. At first, I was turned off a bit about the transience of the population. I was kind of like, oh, well, it's not, they don't have any friends, lifelong friends. But then that really became one of the biggest pros for me. Hello?
Rach, you're breaking up.
Are you hearing me now?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, that really became one of the biggest pros for me, because Adam would talk to me about India and China and all these different places around the world, because he was meeting these people from all around the world. And so I just wanted to say that I ended up nonetheless moving Gabby to AISK, and I've not regretted it since. And I'd say what you should look for in a school is just anything that's not rote, anything that goes beyond what you learned as a child. Absolutely. And pick cues up from your children. Every child is different, so you have to know what benefits your child. So Absolutely. That's what I have to say.
Okay, thank you. And Jen, you have anything to add to that? Because
I will just add a little something quickly, just because I think I have a little bit of a different perspective. I'm a new-ish parent to AISK. We started with Tristan in September of 2020. And I'm also a parent of another very popular prep school in Jamaica, and a happy parent as well. So my take on AISK is that it's an amazing school, and I would want to encourage parents to look at their child's needs individually. I have 3 kids, and it's so easy to kind of lump them all together and send them to one school. But I think it's so important to kind of look and see what works for one and what doesn't work for the other, and kind of go back to the drawing board. And we're very happy to have AISK as an option for our kids, because it does offer a different sort of perspective on learning, for sure.
Absolutely. Well, as I said, I have 3 caps here, because not only, as I said, I'm an educator for 20 years, but I'm also a mommy of 3 kids, and 3 very different kids. And I went to AISK as well. Not initially. I started off at another prep school because that was where my eldest child went, you know, and I was like, oh, I loved it there. But as you said, Jen, 3 kids, 3 different personalities, 3 different learning styles, just 3 completely different expectations as a mom. And I found that it was just not working the other prep school for my little one. And someone said AISK, and like many people who are probably listening, I was like, we can't afford that, you know what I mean? But let's go and look. And I'm not joking, within 1 week, the difference in my child. And, you know, I never expected the transformation to happen so fast, but it actually happened in a day. But I keep saying it really couldn't be a day, you know, but his whole personality, you know, so you talk about the holistic approach. It is literally the holistic approach because they care about every aspect of your child, not just the academic, right? But the emotional, the social, everything is important. And to me, not only as a preschool owner, but as a mom, when you know that your child is safe and you don't have to think about your child all day because you know that between the security guard at the gate, the person who is Mr. Badney's, Dr. Badney's outside waiting on you, Mrs. Wallace, everybody's greeting you. The canteen lady knows what you like. I mean, how can you worry? You know what I mean? It's almost like the money is so secondary because your child is so happy and ready. I mean, my kids don't even like to miss school, which is just unheard of. They could be sick and like, but I want to go to school. I certainly, and I tell you, I'm a preschool teacher. I loved sick days. I wanted to stay home. That's not the case for my kids. But on another topic, so Dr. Badney, I would love for you to give us a little more insight on the curriculum and the elementary program and what makes AISK Zone so unique.
Well, I think, Shakira, you talked a lot about looking at the whole child. And we have a curriculum. We use the Common Core or standards, which really helps map out what the school year looks like and what their 12 plus years look like. I think it's really what we do with that curriculum and what we do with instruction. It's not just what we teach kids, it's how we teach kids. And it's really tapping into having children really learn how to learn. And think about that as a future focused skill, learning to learn. We don't see our kids as an empty vessel where we have to fill them with information. They come to us with a lot of insight, a lot of information. Our job is to meet them where they are and move them to the next level and teach them and instill that passion for learning. Because let's face it, in this unknown future, the successful kids or the successful people will be those who can learn and adapt and move forward. And that's what we want to do with our kids. How do we do that? Project-based learning. We provide as much opportunity for kids to not only collaborate, but really to look at projects and learn in a way that connects them with people, connects them with problems, and they become solvers of those problems from whether it's art or whether it's in science or whether it's in math, they are working on problems together. So it looks a little different with problem-based learning. Sure, we have standard tests and assessments, but we use something we call rubrics when we're really assessing what a child learns and how to assess that, that project. And many of you who are in business or in the business world, you have some type of rubric that you use to measure your success in your particular role in what you do. Well, again, we are future focused. We're using those rubrics to really help kids understand where their challenges are and where their successes are. I think our curriculum and our instruction practices, it really helps kids own their learning. And again, that's really important. Learning is not something that is given to you. It's something that you do on your own. It's as important as exercise. It's as important as learning a musical instrument. You learn how to learn. And we help kids understand that through being a passionate thinker, a passionate learner, being an advocate for themselves. So I think that's what really makes us very unique from many places on the island, and I would even say in North America.
Absolutely. And I mean, I see that, as I said, with my children, that each child is an individual and is taught exactly in that way. You know, their different learning styles. It is very much all a part of the AISK package. Um, Jen and Rachel, whoever wants to take this one first, what are your hopes and dreams for your child? Jen, you could probably start this one off first, Jen.
Sure.
Your children, because you actually have two kids there
I do
now.
actually have two children.
And maybe soon three.
Maybe. My hopes and dreams for my children are to raise confident human beings, confident, kind, well-rounded people. I want my children to be great students, but I want them to be in a learning environment where they are encouraged and they try their hardest. And overall, I just want them to be confident. And I think AISK does a really great job of really tapping into the individual child as well and helping foster that from a very young age.
Absolutely. Add to that?
Yes, I just want to say, I just
Breaking
want
up,
to
Rach.
and curious. I just want to harness. Hearing me?
Yes. Okay, start again. We never heard what you said in the beginning.
I just want to, for me, to harness that curiosity. I find that my children love learning, they love participating, and the older they get, I notice how self-motivated they are to succeed and to produce. And that's something that I see gradually as they grow older and move through AISK's system. It is something that I see progressing, and it's something I'm very pleased about.
Right. And you know, for me, to add to that with the parent cap now, I totally agree. Confidence to me is the most important thing, because to me, the academics, you have some children who literally know every single thing on Google, but they're not confident enough to express themselves, to speak up, to let them, you know, even their own feelings. And what I found, I mean, from day one with AISK is that they encourage you to speak up. They encourage you to present. I mean, your confidence is built literally from day one. And I mean, just continue straight throughout, you know. My initial thing was not to send my other child to AISK. It was really just supposed to be Luca. But when I saw this transformation from a child who was biting his nails and all of that, I mean, the confidence that grew in such a short space of time and continues to grow, I said, there is no way I could not do that for my daughter, you know, who's already super confident. So now she's like off the charts, you know. But it's so important to have your children in a place that fosters that self-confidence, and that it doesn't just focus on the academic part, because the academics will come, and the academics actually come when you're more confident as well, you know. So it's a win-win. So Jen, do you see a difference in your child since they start, well, your children? You can start with the first.
Yes. So I always think of our transition to AISK with Tristan. And he's been there the longest now. And I mean, I 100% saw a huge difference immediately. At his previous school, I felt he was losing the confidence. He wasn't interested in learning anymore. And we were really in a place where we were very concerned. But almost immediately from when he joined AISK, he has completely transformed, not only just as a student, but just as a child as well, you know. He's really blossomed. So
he wants to participate in everything, and he wants to do everything. And I mean, it's just such a huge transfer. I saw that, and I started 5 years ago, you know. It was just all of a sudden he wants to try this out and that's out, and you're like, who is this person? I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Rach, you want to add to that?
Well, only to say that another thing too that I really just to reiterate on the confidence and just that whole boldness. I mean, my children can go anywhere and strike up conversations with adults, which and compared to when I say other kids their age, they're not as easily able to, but my children are just out of their shell immediately. And that's definitely something the boys had from the jump, and I can compare to Gabby. I know boys and girls are different, but Gabby is the same way now, and I feel that's only because she joined the AISK. The boys were like that, I feel, from jump because they were in AISK's program from the beginning.
Right, right, right.
But just they're just not afraid. They just walk up. Everything is fair game. Everybody's fair game. Hi, how are you? So what do you do? So is it they just talk. And it's just so natural for them. And I remember, I mean, even when I was in college, it was so hard for me, So I'm really appreciative to the program that AISK has that just encourages that whole curiosity and that confidence and just that empowerment and that bold attitude towards life, not only learning, but life in general.
Absolutely, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. As I said, as a mommy, as a preschool owner, I could not agree more with that. I mean, the way how their approach to everything is just so they're just ready for anything that is put in front of them, because from the beginning they've been taught to not fear new things, to not fear standing in front of an audience, to presenting. I mean, here I am sitting here as the host, and I'm nervous, but I could put one of my kids here and they'd probably be absolutely fine. I mean, they stand up in front of the class all the time to present between the projects and the different presentations now that they're doing on not Skype. You guys use the Google platform, to Zoom us parents in. And I mean, I'm in shock at how they're all presenting and how confident they are even in front of each other, and knowing that all the parents are sitting there watching them, it's really quite amazing. It really, really is. So, Dr. Batney, over to you again. The autonomy of students within a community of learners. We wanted you to touch on that. Students are, we wanted you to give us some more insights on that as well.
I think it's one of the things we pride ourselves is really finding that balance between the individual and the community. So we want to develop that individual sense of self with our students. And we talked earlier about looking at the whole child, social, emotional, the cognitive, the physical abilities as well. But they're also part of the community. And not only their classroom community, the community of learners, but the extended community, the preschool through 12th grade community, and then the bigger picture, the Kingston, the Jamaican community. So I think it's really important that we look at the individual, but we also look at the community as well. And with that individual comes the whole concept of voice and choice. That's why project-based learning is such a powerful way for people, not just children, to learn. It gives them an opportunity to extend their voice in the project as well as choice. Who does not like choosing what they want to work on? Again, that's a life skill. It's a future focused skill. And it can happen as early as preschool and kindergarten, giving kids choice. Sure, we're going to direct them, we're going to guide them, we're going to coach them, but having that empowerment and that confidence to choose and then do some reflecting as well. And that voice is really important. Not only what you say, but how you say it and what you choose to say. And really guiding kids through all of that is also important. We don't look at problems as being a problem or being defined as bad or good. These are opportunities for kids to learn and with their behavior, with their choices, with the outcome. These are all opportunities for kids to learn. And our job as educators is to coach kids as well. So we provide them that autonomy, but when there are mistakes that are made, we spend time working with kids and coaching with them. And when there's wonderful things that happen, we celebrate with him or her, because celebration is part of learning as well. So I think it's really important when we take a look at autonomy and we think about what our kids need to develop confidence. It's a huge package, and it's really looking at that whole child, which we spent the last probably 30 minutes really reaffirming the importance of looking at every aspect of that child, not just the cognitive.
Yes, absolutely. I really, I I could not agree more. I could not agree more. So with all of that being said, Rachel, I don't know if you want us to answer first. Is AISK worth the money? Because that was the biggest thing for me as a parent. What? I don't earn US dollars. How is it going to work? And I can tell you, it's worth the money. There's no figure that you can put on your child's happiness and self-esteem and confidence, and all it tick, 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 tick for me. So Rachel, is AISK worth the money?
I would say it's worth the money. Of course, there are some sacrifices. It's a high price tag, but I mean, what makes you really uncomfortable with a high price tag? It makes me uncomfortable if I'm not seeing the value. For me, I feel like I'm getting my value and more. I think what I get from AISK in terms of my children's development is really priceless. And if I have to sacrifice some things for that to happen, then I will.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Jen?
Yes, I definitely think it's worth it. I wouldn't be here if I didn't. It is a hard pill to swallow at times, but like Rachel said, you definitely see the value in it. For
Exactly.
sure.
And I mean, I can go on and on and on about that, because as I said, it was you go up there, the campus is beautiful, the resources are beautiful. All of those things. I mean, it's the teachers, but then when you actually see the transformation that takes place in your child, as a mom, that's priceless, and it's not just a little bit. It's his whole development, so we have to focus on the holistic development of a child. It's not just whether they know their times tables, if they can tell you about all the different continents and fractions and decimals. It is really, as I said, expressing themselves, feeling good about themselves, and it checks, all the boxes are checked in that department. Absolutely. So it's just absolutely worth the money. Would you recommend this school to someone else? Well, you guys already know I do, because we filter. So Jen, would you recommend this school to someone else?
100%. Definitely. No questions asked. 100%.
110%. Exactly. Rach?
Yes, I would, without a doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and to me, can I tell you, my children, they recommend this school. You know what I mean? Jen's kids, Rachel's kids, because the people who, their aunts, their grandparents, people who don't see them often, I can speak for my Luca. I would book up a friend in the supermarket and she'd say, oh my gosh, he's just walking up, Rachel, as you said, your two sons, they automatically did that. Gabby, it took a while. Well, for me, that was the same thing with Luca. You understand? He wasn't somebody who was bold and who would just walk up to you. He actually became quite shy. But now it's, hi, Auntie Jen. Hi, da, da, da. You know what I mean? He's talking. He feels so safe and secure within himself that it is so absolutely worth the money. I mean, as I said, I don't really have to do the talking. Luca's self-confidence does the talking on our behalf. You know what I mean? The transformation that took place, and Skylar's continued confidence that just keeps on growing, you know.
And you know what I noticed as well, Shakira, they don't really think limits. And I kind of like that. It's like almost like nothing is impossible.
Yeah,
You know,
I agree
like
because
it's just
they
not.
figured out a way to figure it out. You know, I don't know if
Yeah.
it's because a lot of the projects and stuff were done at school or if they feel so comfortable. I'm not quite sure what the formula is. I just have to say the whole package is the formula because I've watched how Luca learns and it's completely different to my eldest and to Skylar, my youngest, but he doesn't feel, even if something is hard, he's like, Mom, don't worry, between the teacher or I'm gonna, he actually emails his own teachers when he doesn't understand something, you know what I mean? And he's texting, I mean, the IT teacher, I'm seeing her name coming up on his phone, on his iPad. I mean, he's that confident where he's like, Miss, I don't understand. Can you explain? You know what I mean? I'm not, you know, I remember having to write those notes for my older child, you know, so and so he didn't understand this topic, you know, could you go over it with him? Da da da. Luca does that on his own. And I can honestly tell you that is because of AISK. You understand, where he feels confident enough in himself, bold enough, everything, you know, where it's okay not to understand. It's okay that I will figure it out. And I know that by the time I come home tomorrow, I'm going to understand. Because as I said, I can't really tell you what part of the formula it is, but I think the whole package makes it where the child now feels so, you know, self-confident in every way, you know, that even when they don't understand something, they're confident enough to actually say, I don't get it. I don't understand, you know? So socially, I guess you guys have kind of talked about it because we know we have a transient population and stuff, but socially, what are, I mean, we're dying to get back into the school as parents. I actually said that to Anna the other day. I miss walking in and, and talking.
We're ready to have you in. We're setting that up.
I know, we cannot wait as parents, you know, to see the kids. But in general, socially, how have you found AISK, Jen?
I feel like I haven't had a fair shot joining at
know.
the beginning of a pandemic, so I haven't really been on campus. I like seeing the faculty and all the teachers and everything in the morning, but I think it's just my circumstance that I haven't
Yeah.
been able to get onto campus. I haven't seen a play or an assembly or anything. So I'm very much looking forward to that when we can do that again.
And they're awesome. They really, really are. Rach, socially,
Yeah,
I mean, you touched a little bit on it, but even for you as a parent, socially, how have you found it?
I've found it to be it's been good. I mean, it's hard for me to remember what it was like pre-pandemic. Um, I'm anxious like then to get back on campus.
Yeah.
But socially it was good. The concerts I remember were really good. They have a lot of parent teacher mixers which were also very good. And what I loved was the morning meetings for where all the classes line up and you get kind of a rundown on what's happening for the day or for the week. That was really cool. So I'm just excited to get back to normalcy so we can just get things get the campus active again.
Yes, yes. Well, I can tell you too, as a parent, going in the school just had a warmth about it, you know. I keep mentioning the security guards because I think they're just so awesome. You know, they know the children's names. You know what I mean? They know when somebody has come that they don't know. I mean, and that's huge. That is so, I mean, they know the children's names, the canteen people, they know what your kids like. You know what I mean? And what they don't like. And in general, socially, I found that even as a result, I don't know if it's just the vibe, the parents were also very warm. You know, I made a lot of friends. I can now travel to Mexico, to Amsterdam, because I mean, to Australia, to Tajikistan, and this is all because of my children's friends. I mean, we're still talking on WhatsApp. They're still every Friday. Luca is talking to a friend in Australia, and I mean, because of course the time zones and the difference, you know. And they're dying for us to come. And of course, it's just the pandemic, you know. So socially, you know, the kids yes, it's a transient population, but it's funny. It's also keeping them, you know, in line with the world and how it's moving, you know. They're on their iPads, they're on their computers, they're talking, they're asking about time zones. And I mean, I hear Luca, I have to call him because it's morning there, he's waking up, and it's the same for the parents. And we're now, I not only have my kids made friends, I have made really, really good, long lasting relationships with a lot of people who I miss dearly because of the pandemic. A lot of them had to go back, and hopefully they will come back, but you never know, you know. So socially, yes, it's been awesome. So Anna, your turn.
Great. I hear so many good things, and I hear about that learning how to learn, which makes everything figure outable, and so
Yeah.
takes that fear away,
Yeah.
you know, which is very rewarding and fulfilling as an educator, listening to you parents share and listening to Kaz speak. So the investment that you make as parents, or you will make as parents into AISK for our elementary grades is, so there is one fee that we have for our kindergarten grades, that's our 5-year-olds turning 6, and that fee is $13,668 US for the year. We do have a pay 10 payment plan, which means you can make that payment split evenly into 10 payments with no finance charge, which is about $1,300 US per month for kindergarten. From grades 1 through to grade 5. Grade 5 is the end of our elementary in our American, because we have that American grading system. The fee is just about $18,000 US for the year. And again, you can also access the pay 10 option of splitting that fee right down the middle for a payment of $1,800 approximately per month. I think that's very affordable for the value that we have spoken about and for giving a gold standard education, allowing your child to access a gold standard education for sure. The next steps, if you are interested in visiting us or in coming to AISK, you can come to visit us. You can go to our website at aisk.com, and certainly there's an apply here link right there. You can call us. We are doing face-to-face tours where you can come and walk around and see the classes and see the school in action. And those happen with me. And I would be more than happy to welcome you to our campus and facilitate a tour.
Awesome. Well,
do we want to move to some questions? Do our attendees have any questions for us as panelists?
We have a question here. You say projects, and I immediately think of Ligonier Grogan Garden and what I have to do with my child's project. So
maybe that should beg the question of what does projects look like? What do projects look like at AISK? And I think they look a little different in the how, the expectations, compared to what may happen. And that would be, I think, appropriate for parents to speak about who is doing those projects.
Yes. So,
Jen or Rach, would you like to share about how projects come across your home?
Well, I just got an email from Mrs. Silvera this week that they're doing a project. They're doing a project in Africa, rather. And I immediately, I was like, oh my gosh, what do I have to do?
I have to go get this stuff.
I was like, after just having done a project that weekend, I was like, I cannot do another project at another school. And then I read the email further, and it was, everything's going to be done in class. I mean, we'll need to supply materials, but I was like, oh my gosh, thank you. But I think that's perfect. I also have a tendency as well, to be honest, to just take on too much when they're doing it at home, because I'm like, oh no, do it like this way. I think at school, they have the full range. They are doing it 100% themselves, perhaps with some assistance where needed, but it definitely takes the burden off of us parents.
Absolutely, absolutely. Rach, you want to add to that?
I don't really have anything to add. I think Jen said it all.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
comfortable with what Jen said, yes.
Absolutely. And I mean, I can fully agree with what Jen said as well. I mean, that's one of the best parts because I can tell you, my big son is much older, and the projects. I mean, the projects would go on, and you're fully immersed in the project as well. Whereas now, I mean, they take the stuff to school, and sometimes they don't even need to take anything to school. They actually just tell you to well, nowadays, to jump on the Zoom to watch them present it. But back in the day, right, Jen, you soon get to see this. We actually used to go into the classrooms, and I mean, the children would literally show us what they made. They would stand up there and they would teach you a whole thing, whether it be on a different country or how where cars were made. I mean, they even did a whole thing once on the water cycle, and I mean, it's just amazing. And they build it themselves. I mean, and as I say to people all the time, you know, we all are different. We all have different ways of learning. But the truth is, hands-on. Who doesn't learn hands-on learning? You know, when you're actually making and touching and feeling, and you're so immersed in the whole process, you're going to learn. It's impossible not to learn. So it doesn't matter whether or not you can learn by rote or you're not, you know, that you don't have to. The truth is that who doesn't learn better when you're so immersed and touching and feeling and making the things yourself and researching it, you know? And that is really the AISK way, you know? It's normally the preschool way, but the truth is when you build on that, you know, the hands-on for your whole life, you will only become a more educated and a better learner, student, everything, you know, all around.
And I'd like to just put a little perspective on the term project. It's not always a make and take diorama kind of project. Sometimes it could be creating like a system. Like the 5th grade, they were working on designing a home or a sustained lab on Mars. So they had to investigate, like, how do we farm there? How do we produce water there? How do we eliminate waste there? And it wasn't a make and take. It was creating this diagram of what it would look like with research-based information that can explain the farming and those kinds of things. So it's not always glue, scissors, and making a diorama. We use projects as an opportunity for kids to move beyond pen and paper and really design something. And it could also be discussions. Our drama teacher did a project, which is a fishbowl discussion technique, teaching kids how to lead a discussion in the traditional fishbowl fashion, where you have kids talking and then you have kids surrounding the fishbowl and looking for certain things and then coming back and discussing it. So we would consider that a project as well. So project isn't always make and take.
Exactly. And to add to that, you spoke about the drama teacher. I can add with the Spanish teacher. The other day I heard Luke, I kept hearing this beep, 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 bah. And then I was like, what is making that noise? I went into the room and he was making a movie. So he had gotten the pictures of, it was a Spanish country, and it was to talk about their food, their lifestyle, whatever. And he sat there by himself. He made the whole video, put his voice over, and honestly, to goodness, I cried. I was like, oh, you did this by yourself, because I don't know how to do that. So it wasn't even something I could help him with, you know? But he sat there, and I tell you, I kept hearing this noise, and I was like, what is he doing? It didn't sound like a video game. And he was making a full-blown, where his voice, he had the beginning with the title page and all the things, and he's speaking about the food, and that's a project. And that's a project he's done by himself. He had to research it first. He had to pause and put in the things. I mean, I was complete. I think I told every family member that Luca just did this project all by himself. But this is something that they do, as you said, second nature. It's just, it becomes such a part of them that they don't even think of it as a project. They're just doing cool stuff, you know, and that's really what is so amazing about the whole AISK experience, is that the love of learning you know, the love of doing, and then doing it in all these different formats too, you know. I'm excited as a mom. I'm excited as an educator that this is their, you know, they have this opportunity to experience this, because I can tell you when I went to prep school and high school, I did not do it. You understand? It was just not. It wasn't until I went to university. And as I said, I still can't make a movie. You know, I mean, and he very much made a movie, you know, and the fact that this is literally at their fingertips from elementary school, that, I mean, by the time they reach university, this is like second nature to them. This is like us picking up our cell phone and sending a WhatsApp. I mean, he never called out to anybody. And most of you don't know Luca, but Jen and Anna and Rach do. I mean, that's huge. You know what I mean? And he did it all by himself, no help. He didn't ask. I tell you, I just kept hearing this noise, beep, beep, beep. And when I went in, he's like, Mom, look. And it was a whole movie on a South American country, you know, and I was completely blown away, and done well too. So the AISK way. The AISK way. Well, do we have any more questions? No. Okay. Well, if you have any more questions, of course, there is Dr. Badney, but of course you could also email admissions@aisk.com for further information. And I can tell you that Anna is extremely accessible as a parent and everything, even before I became a parent. So email admissions@aisk.com for any further information, and also email he is Dr. Badney, but CBADYNEE@aisk.com, and it stands for Kaz Badney at aisk.com. Okay, so thank you all for joining us this evening, and thank you, Jen and Rach and Anna and Kaz. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shakira. Thank you so
All
much,
right, guys,
everyone.
take care.
Thank you all attendees. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Have a very good evening.
You too. You too.